The 15-inch MacBook Air that just got released didn't turn out to be what we were hoping to get. We were expecting a more powerful and versatile machine that fixes the issues with the 13-inch M2 Air, but we got what we got. And this doesn't mean that there is no better choice, because there is. There is a laptop Apple is actively selling that you should absolutely get, and in this video, I'm gonna tell you all about it. Alright, first things first, let's quickly recap the key features of the new 15-inch MacBook Air. The laptop is equipped with a 15.3-inch Liquid Retina display with pretty narrow bezels. The display supports P3 wide color gamut and goes up to 500 nits in brightness, unbent M2 chip with 8 CPU cores and 10 GPU cores. Unlike the 2022 model, the 15-inch doesn't have an option to choose a different chip configuration. The base config, just like on the 13-inch model, features 8 gigs of unified memory and 256GB SSD. Also, 6 speakers situated in the same place as on its younger brother, between the display and the keyboard hinge. As for the port selection, it is absolutely identical to the one on the 13-inch model. 2 Type-C Thunderbolt ports, 3.5mm audio jack, and a MagSafe charging cable. The thickness, design language, keyboard and trackpad size are identical to the 13-inch Air. What else? This one obviously has a pretty big battery and according to Apple should have an 18-hour battery life. The webcam, microphones and everything else is pretty much recycled from the 13-inch MacBook Air. And all that beauty costs only $1,299, $1,300. So, can we make any parts of this laptop better with a small influx of money? Of course. But first, how much money are we talking about? Well, my experience with the 13-inch Air showed me that you absolutely have to increase the unified memory size. You just have to do it, no way around that. The standard 8GB is simply not enough for any real multitasking and heavy apps. Of course, in some devices, 8 gigs of unified memory can be enough, like on the M1 MacBook Air, but that laptop has an ace up its sleeve, fast dual-chip SSD. This 15-inch MacBook Air, just like the 13-inch Air, doesn't have that. No one has opened this laptop yet, but I'm pretty sure when someone opens it, we'll see the exact same picture, one SSD chip. And that's a real bummer, because with 2-chip configuration, the memory bandwidth would be much higher, which would have made swap more effective. But no, for $1,300 you're getting one chip, and believe me, you're gonna feel that bottleneck every single time. So just to make this laptop usable, you have to spend $400 extra, $200 for the unified memory upgrade and $200 for the SSD upgrade. So the total price comes to around $1,700, which is a lot. For $1,700, you're still gonna get a laptop that overheats and drops frequencies. Will it make it better if it came with the dual-port charging brick? I doubt that. So, how should we use these extra dollars to make this laptop better? How about improving the display? Let's take a good Liquid Retina display and turn it into a 120Hz ProMotion Super Retina XDR screen with much deeper blacks, higher max brightness of up to 1000 nits, ProMotion, thinner bezels. It would be better for movies, working with colors and general use. Quite a noticeable improvement, won't you agree? Oh, and how about those speakers? I've used the M2 Air for quite some time and I know well enough what the speaker system is capable of. And I also know that the placement of speakers matters more than their number. So the 15-inch Air with 6 speakers most likely won't sound that much better than the 13-inch Air that has 4 speakers. And even if they will sound better, the difference will not be that big. So to make the sound better, we need to move the speakers, let's say, to the left and right side of the top case, and add some grid to let the sound pass through easier. And what will we get? Much richer, deeper and louder sound. Okay, how about the port selection? Can we also fix that? Sure. How about we add one more Type-C port, an SD card reader, and the HDMI port to the mix? Will it make the laptop more versatile? For sure, more ports is always good for versatility, and with this new port selection you'll almost eliminate the need for dongles and adapters. Okay, all of that is fairly simple, but how about the biggest problem? The performance. Here the difference will simply be astronomical. You thought the M2 was fast. How about taking everything it can do and multiplying it by 2 or 3? Yes, that's right. I am talking about that big of a difference. We obviously need more cores and more memory. How about the same 8 CPU cores but 14 GPU cores, and add 16 gigs of unified memory to that and 512 gigs of fast SSD? Or maybe you need 10 CPU cores and 16 GPU cores? You can do that too. Okay, let's take a brief pause and talk about this video sponsor, Wondershare. You know how managing your phone can be a bit of a hassle? Well, Dr. Phone swoops in to save the day. It lets you check your device's condition, export all the important details, and keeps your files organized and easily accessible. Plus, transferring files between your phone and computer is as simple as a single click. You can effortlessly transfer contacts, messages, photos, videos, and more. Say goodbye to all those compatibility issues and hello to smooth transfer experience. No more confusion or chaos. Dr. Phone also unlocks the true potential of your device. Forgot your lock screen password? No worries, Dr. Phone can bypass it in a snap. It can even help you break free from pesky carrier restrictions, giving you the freedom to use your phone however you want. Dr. Phone clears out junk files, manages your storage space, and erases any sensitive information when you're ready to part ways with your device. And don't worry, once it's gone for good. So if you're tired of the phone management chaos, give Wondershare Dr. Phone a try. The link is in the description. Gosh, I should stop with all this hypothetical game. Of course, the laptop in question is the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Just look at the performance difference. No matter the task, the MacBook Pro will come out on top. Of course, M2 chip can do video editing, complex 3D work, edit photos in batches, but the MacBook Pro will just do it so much better. In video editing, the timeline will be much smoother, the preview will not drop frames even without proxies, and the actual export time will be many times slower. All that video editing fluency is possible thanks to special encoders and decoders, which really accelerate the editing process. And let's not forget about the cooling system. The 15-inch MacBook Air is passively cooled and cannot survive the sustained load without thermal throttling. With photo editing, the situation is similar. MacBook Air can edit photos and does it rather well until the number and size of photos grows. As soon as you're trying to manipulate more than a few photos at once, the laptop starts to struggle. The OS becomes sluggish, less responsive, everything gets basically stopped just to finish editing the photos, and all that happens mainly because of the 8 gigs of unified memory. 8 gigs not only makes it more difficult to access the files, but the sluggishness of the memory allows the high temperatures to build, which makes thermal throttling worse. And the inability to effectively use swap only makes things worse. And do I even need to say something about the small SSD in the base model? 256GB SSD in the base 15-inch Air is abysmally small. It's too small to fit anything. If you decide to edit a video, say goodbye to at least 20 gigs of video files you need, and then to 60 more for proxies and optimized media. If you decide to learn 3D, the software alone will eat up a noticeable amount of space, and if you decide to hold on to some files instead of deleting them, say goodbye to your space in a matter of weeks. 256 is not enough, and don't you dare saying anything about external SSDs, because the transfer speeds will be super low in the base MacBook Air. There's only one thing you can do to make 15-inch Air faster. Spend $400 on memory and SSD upgrades. But okay, let's say you decide to listen to me and buy the 14-inch MacBook Pro. How much will it cost? Well, if you decide to get the best MacBook of the decade, the 14-inch 2021 model, it will cost you $1,539. Yes, you heard me right. For almost the same price as the 15-inch Air would cost with RAM upgrade, you can get a laptop with far too many pros. The screen would be much better, the speakers will be something out of this world, and performance, you will really be amazed. But if you don't want the 2021 model, how about the 2023 model with M2 Pro chip? Yes, this one can be found refurbished for $1,699. And for $1,699, it will be much better computer than the 15-inch MacBook Air with all the necessary upgrades. Well, yes, the 15-inch Air can be okay for simple tasks if you are an office worker whose needs have stayed the same since 2015, then this 15-inch Air's performance will be more than enough for you. But if you don't know what you need or want to do, you need all the headroom you can get. And believe me, the 15-inch M2 Air won't give you that headroom, so please don't buy it. Get the 14-inch MacBook Pro instead. You won't regret it. Give you my word. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.